Going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Lori. So this week I'm here with Lori Beck. And Lori, what's your title over there?
Deputy City Clerk.
Deputy City Clerk. Okay. So we had talked a little bit, actually last year, you guys had, I should say thank you for being here. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, of course, of course. Last year you needed extra people to work the polls, and that would have been April, right?
The April election because of COVID, and a couple of our workers, weren't comfortable, working. So then we, had asked a few new people, and you were one of them.
I did. I knew somebody myself, and I had the most fun ever. And so we had talked a lot about kind of that procedure in the voting process and what you guys go through to set that up so that it's all accurate and stuff like that. And I just really wanted to sit down and talk about it because we have another election coming up. And so I was wondering, what are some of the most frequently asked questions you have leading up to voting about how to vote? And what are things that maybe you would tell the community then so that they knew all the answers?
Sure. Well, since COVID, it kind of has changed a lot. We had a lot of people, wanting to absentee vote last year, and some of them are continuing to want to do that. So really the easiest way probably for most people is to, if they have a computer and, are able to do it, is to go to the myvote.wi.gov website. And on there, it pretty much, you can do almost anything. If you had a name or address change, you can do that right from that site. You can request an absentee ballot from that site.
What are there are options on there, right? I can't remember exactly, but it says like you can be just for this election or you can kind of indefinitely.
Yeah, that's actually when you get further into it. So there's there's a My Voter Info tab, Find My Polling Place, if you're new to, your city or whatever. What's on my ballot, a tab for that, so that will show you the actual ballot. That's not available yet. I'm not sure how many days out that's available. That the election commission, they're the ones that put it out, when it's available.
Right.
But you can update your name and address. You can register to vote. So if you're new to the city, you can go up right on there and register to vote.
Cool.
Also, there is a deadline. You have to live here at least 28 days before you can register to vote. And then to go on and register to vote, it's the third Wednesday before the election. So like for the April election, March 17th would be the last day that you can go online to register to vote. But that's like changing your name, changing your address, or registering for the first time. You have up until March 17th. After that point, you need to come in the office and do it in person.
Okay.
Up until the Friday before the election. Otherwise, you can do it right on the election day. And then you can request your absentee ballot from that site also.
Okay.
And that's where what you were talking about, once you get into the requesting the absentee ballot, you can choose which election you want it for, or if you want to do it for an entire year, or if you're indefinitely confined, it's difficult for you to get out because of health reasons or, disabilities, whatever.
Sure.
You can request a permanent, to be a permanent absentee request.
Excuse me, sorry.
Sure. So then, and then I guess one thing that we're seeing this year, so many people did the entire year last year.
Yeah.
And now, after January 1st, you have to request it again. Yeah, unless if you're indefinitely confined.
Okay.
But otherwise, the majority of the people would fall into where they just need to request it each year. And you can go on and do that. Like, so in January, you can request it for the whole year already.
Do you have to send a new photo of your ID?
No, if you're doing it through the My Vote, they have that on record that they already have that. So you don't need to upload a photo again. It'll tell you, if you do need to do it, it would tell you that you need to do it. But otherwise, it'll just skip right over that because it knows that you had one, from the prior year. And then also another tab on that My Vote is the Track My Ballot. We had a lot of people wanting, after the November election, they were calling and being like, well, I voted, but it doesn't say that I did.
Yeah.
So we count your ballot on election day. We have to count them all. You know, anything that comes in before 8 p.m. on election day, we have to count. So they were counted. It's just not been recorded in the system that you know, your participation yet. So we have 30 days after the election to get those all in the system.
Recorded.
I try to do it like a day or two after, but as you can imagine, the November election was just super busy, and I think it was like maybe a week before I was able to get them all entered.
Sure.
So, but we do have 30 days to get them in. You know, I just try to do it right away so that people aren't concerned about that, you know, that yes, your vote counted. It just needs to be recorded in the system now, you know, that you participated in that election.
And that was so interesting to me, being a part of it and realizing, first of all, I didn't know in Wisconsin that you could audit the voting process, like that there are auditors of the voting process who are you can just watch.
Oh, like observers?
Observers,
yes.
right.
Yeah, so we don't have that too often. We did in November. I think every polling place in Wisconsin had an observer. So yeah, they're there, just kind of making sure that you're doing everything by the law, you know, and that kind of thing.
But it was, for me, I didn't understand any of it. I mean, first of all, I had never voted absentee. So like seeing how absentee ballots were handled, that was so interesting to me, that like you're sitting on these, they can't be opened until that day, and then you start opening them and processing them, and it's two people working together, and then other people entering them as well, and then you guys are going through the books and making sure that all the numbers align with how many people we've already counted. Right. So there's like ongoing audits in the process. So many people involved in each step of that ballot that for me, that was, I guess, revelatory. Like, I believed in the system more, having been a part directly of it and seeing how many people are part, you know, like, so you guys, you're kind of running it, and there's somebody else who runs the poll, and then as new laws come up, what do you do? Like, as the laws are modified, then you guys...
Yeah, well, we have to, make sure everybody is aware of any new laws that come out, and as you can imagine, that is an ever-changing area.
Right.
So like tomorrow again, I'll be watching a webinar again for the upcoming election, you know, for April. So Casey and I are watching webinars constantly, you know, like where there's, you know, either just new laws or, you know, just reminders, like, you know, make sure to do it like this, just kind of refresher kind of stuff, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's ever changing, you know, every year there are new rules when it comes to elections, and we just kind of have to stay on top of those and make sure that we, you know, have the latest ones.
Right.
That we are.
Right. Well, and this year too, you talked about a lot more people requested absentee. I said, my first time ever doing that. How much did that impact maybe the workflow and the preparation? You know, in a normal election, how much time you would have spent on absentee ballots versus this last year, for example, in November is a great...
Yeah, I think the real impact was last April for that election. You know, COVID started in middle of March.
Oh, sure.
And it was like, boom, it just like our computers blew up with people requesting, you know, absentee ballots. And so there was a lot of long hours, you know, longer than normal hours just to get those all processed and out in the mail. You're supposed to try to get them out if after we have the ballots. Because obviously you can request it now already, but we don't have the ballots. So once the ballots arrive and then you get any requests, you should try to get them out like in 24 hours, you know, when the request came through.
Yeah.
So we really try very, very hard to, you know, to make that happen. And I think we did a good job of doing it. We just, you know, sometimes had to stay longer or come in early, you know, to get any of those, you know, out that needed to be. But it was just amazing how many people, you know, voted that way, and which was great, you know, like was how they felt comfortable and stuff. But so we had a lot in August and November, not nearly as many as there were at the April election last year, but we still had quite a few. So it's a lot of cross-checking to make sure, okay, this person had a request out there, here's their ballot, you know, just to cross-reference and make sure that we're not missing, you know, we didn't oversee somebody, or, you know, we just really want to like double-check, triple-check, and make sure that everybody that has a request there actually we have one physically in our hand that we are putting out in the mail to them.
Right,
So.
right. And that's on top of all the regular work that
Yeah.
continues to go on at City
Yeah.
Hall. That's the part. I've laughed with you. My best friend has a similar role in a different community, and just it's like she comes into election time not with dread per se, because it's still like meaningful work. Just how will I get everything? It's like, how will I juggle this? All of my regular work plus the care and precision required to do this process. And now this last year we've added all these things. So it's it's been interesting to watch and then kind of know that same thing must be going on over there, because it's just every community.
Yeah, I think it's all over.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
I mean,
the
I
same.
listened to podcasts with other clerks talking about how much it impacted them. And some of these people are 20-hour a week in really small communities.
Right.
Normally working very part-time, saying that during election season, they ultimately were working 40 to 60-hour weeks.
Right.
Every week, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know we often talk, we can't even imagine what the big cities, I mean, we just know like, holy man, how much our volume went up, but it's like, okay, but that's nothing compared to like the bigger cities and how many people they must have working on this stuff just to stay caught up.
Right.
I can't even imagine.
Right. Well, that's fun. Well, thank you. Is there anything else maybe that I missed talking about that we wanted to touch base with?
I guess I just want to encourage people to go to that myvote.wi.gov. There's so much information on there that is kind of neat to see. Like I said, you can update your name, your address. You can request absentee ballots. You can register for the first time. But under the My Voting activity, there's actually, you can track your ballot, which I had talked about. It'll tell you like, that you requested it when we mailed it out, when we receive it. And then when we get it entered that you participated, which doesn't mean that's on election day. That can be up to 30 days later.
Right.
But you can follow your ballot that way. And then there's also a part that you can see your whole voting history.
Yeah.
It can go back, I think, 10 years, like what elections you all participated in. And then another thing that's kind of cool on there, when you're like not even sure, like, because I don't even always know who my representatives are, you can go on there and all your elected officials are on there, from the president all the way down to the mayor, the older people, the school board, everybody. So it's like kind of neat, like if you're not sure and you're wondering like, I don't even know who my representatives are, you can go on there and get that information. It's right there for anybody to, like you just type in your first name, your last name, your date of birth, it'll find you, and then it'll, confirm that that's you and all of that, and then all that information is right there at your fingertips, so that's kind of neat.
That's amazing. I love that. And I do love the only way I've ever known what was going to be on the ballot is by going and looking at my ballot, because I had certainly had different times in my life where I knew some of the things that were going to be on the ballot.
Sure.
And I had prepared myself. And there would be one surprise where it's
right.
And I didn't want to vote in and on, like I didn't want to just throw a vote there because I didn't know anything. So my husband and I definitely go do, it's like our homework night for voting. And we go look at what's going to be on our ballot and we investigate. We had, at one point, even called people's offices, because usually it'll say who it is and then you find them, and we'd go call offices and ask our questions. And so it feels like myvote.wi.gov.
Myvote.wi.gov, yep.
Right. It feels like that is like such a great resource to be
it really is.
An educated voter. And then also, like you said, you can track your whole voting history. I'm so proud. I haven't missed an election, even when it was like narrowing the field for superintendent.
Right.
Like it doesn't feel. At the time, maybe you think, okay, this isn't that important, but it absolutely is. Every single time, you're part of that voting process, that democracy. So.
Right. And I guess the biggest thing to remember when you are absentee voting, make sure you sign your envelope and date it.
See, there you go.
As the voter, make sure that you sign that. You have to have a witness, there. They're not watching how you vote. just that, yes, you voted on that ballot and you're putting it in that envelope. That's what they're watching. They're not watching how you vote.
Yeah.
But just make sure you as the voter, you sign that, and then you need to have your witness sign it and put their address on there as well. Because if they don't sign it, that vote wouldn't count. We do, because we're a smaller city, I make every effort I can to get a hold of the voter and tell them that you know that this is missing. And so there's that option then, that if the voter and their witness that, you know, was there when they voted, they both would need to come like to City Hall, but then they can fix, you know, like any signatures that were maybe missed or,
Right.
you know, that kind of thing. But that's just really important to remember to do that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so that your vote does actually count.
Right. I know, reading through those instructions, I was like, I just kept reading through them. And then I actually sent mine in Chilton and had this sinking feeling that I had missed the signature on the outside of the envelope, was it?
Yep.
I just kept feeling like, I think I missed that. So I called, and she just pulled it and answered and said, you're all set, you're good. Normally, it said the same thing. Normally, we try our best to contact people if possible.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, cool. And don't send extra things in your envelope, right? It's just the ballot.
Yeah, unless if we, you know, requested that you send your photo ID or something
Okay.
along, but
Right.
typically we get that ahead of time,
Yeah.
you know, so then, only your ballot is the only thing that should go in that envelope.
Okay.
If you have other stuff, you know, you can just get that to us separately or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Hey, sorry for that interruption. So we've talked a lot about the voting stuff in your job, and I always love to talk about you as well. So one question I always ask is, how'd you end up in New Holstein?
Well, I didn't move too far. I'm originally from St. Anne.
Okay.
So, and after we got married, so my husband is from New Holstein and he's on the fire department. We live just outside of New Holstein and have 3 kids.
Okay. And so that's almost a born and raised, practically.
Kind of almost. I mean, I went to New Holstein High School.
Oh, did you?
Know, so
okay,
yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
cool.
So
And Jeff did too, is that what
yeah. Yep.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah.
So if you've been here all of that time, you have to have favorite places in town, in this city, to eat, to favorite activities to do.
The parks are nice to go walking.
The parks.
Yeah, they're very nice. You know,
That's-
just to get out and go walking, you know, and at those and
That's a classic answer. I feel like that is 80% of the time people answer that the parks in this community are just fantastic. And I agree.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
We are
They're-
so lucky.
all the seasons, they're beautiful.
Cool. As the librarian, I always ask people, what is your favorite book?
I don't know if I have a favorite book. Is like I like the Wisconsin magazine just to see where all the cool places are in Wisconsin that I haven't seen yet,
Yeah.
and you know, kind of do a bucket list of places I want to go to and
Yeah,
that
little
kinda
like
thing,
day and
and,
weekend trips and stuff.
right. Yeah.
Have you done a trip that is top of your list? Do you do one every year, or is there?
Well, we try to go, you know, a lot of the state parks, up to Door County, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or Upper Michigan, even, you know,
Yeah.
just kind of more outdoorsy kind of things.
I love. Is it Pictured Rocks?
Yes, we've been there twice.
Yeah,
That's pretty
so
cool.
neat. Yeah.
Mackinac Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole Wisconsin is incredible because we have 2 lake shores.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we have Lake Superior, and that is beautiful and remote, and then Lake Michigan, which is sandy and incredible. And I feel like you can actually get into Lake Michigan as opposed to Lake Superior. Some people would disagree and call that too cold. I have been in Lake Superior, and I will take Lake Michigan temps.
We have done both.
Yeah.
So it's-
Yeah, like
But yeah.
freeze your legs.
We don't travel too far, but there's so many cool places that aren't that far away.
So,
You know, and-
yeah, we are perfectly seated, I feel, for like all the little, except for sometimes it feels like when you have to get to the other side of Lake Winnebago.
Oh.
Where am I going to go? Yeah, so I try to go each way, you know, not favor anyone. Okay, that's a good one. I like that it's not a book, but it's still like a fun resource and reading material, and we do in fact have things around here like that, like for travel and stuff. So it's a fun one. Finally, if you could have a meal with anyone, past or present, who would it be and what would be served? I love food, so I always want to know what people would eat and who they'd eat with. I think it's...
I guess after 2020, you know, I think I probably speak for a lot of people. We'll just all be happy to be able to get together with, you know, parents, siblings, grandkids, great-grandkids, you know, just to all be able to get together again. And I don't really know that it's going to matter a whole lot what is served, you know.
I love that. I agree.
It'll just be, I think everybody just can't, you know, wait to get back together again. I know that, you know, we're waiting for that. And so.
That will be life-changing, I think. Or maybe what's been special about this year is that we will, I think, go back into it with a greater gratitude for the things I definitely took for granted. Just being able to like hang out with my family, we'd get together all summer and do big family events and stuff like that. And that's just, you're right. I did miss the 4th of July where we'd have 3 tables of potluck. I wouldn't mind if it was 3 tables of potluck, but nothing could be served. It would still be lovely.
Right.
Yeah. Give those hugs again. Well, that's really nice. I thank you so much for being here. See, it was so much easier than you expected, right?
It was.
Good. I will let you get back to work. And once again, thank you, Lauren.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, Justine from NHPL. I'm here to talk to you about a book that I really like. It's 100 Things to Do in the Forest by Jennifer Davis. It's a new book that we had here at NHPL that I checked out for myself and read and enjoyed. And I even bought copies for Christmas for my lucky family. So the neat thing about this is getting outdoors by yourself or with your family and friends, whatever you want to do. And the cool thing is, it's got a cool little index or icon. It's got 5 little icons in there that I thought were really cool, mainly because it's about meditation and creating things from the forest. So I'll just point out a few things that I thought were really cool. The first thing that I came across that I thought was neat was doing yoga outside in the woodland yoga variations. So you can go outside and do it, even with your snow pants and boots on. Another thing that I thought is really cool, the artistic side of me, is shadow tracing. Just take some paper, any kind of pencil, crayon, pen, go outside when it's sunny mainly, but when it creates a shadow, you just draw, and it's very meditative and creative to draw on that paper. This would be a fun thing with the kids, is learn how to make shelters, shelter building. You can learn how to make a teepee. Of course, you have to have a lot of sticks to do this. You can learn how to make a lean-to, maybe sleep outside, and you can actually make a tent style. Very cool. One of my favorite things is the silent share walking. You're walking with friends and family, but you're quiet and you're enjoying the outdoors. So, 100 Things to Do in the Forest. It's a great book. We have it here at NHPL. Goes along with our theme for the winter, which I can't pronounce it, but it's a Norwegian concept. And what you'll have to do is call NHPL, ask for Renee, because Renee knows how to say it. I don't.
I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. I'm going down to the library.